Hello, and welcome to today's Program Monitoring Validations PMV WorkApp training brought to you by the Federal Program Compliance FPC Division at the Texas Education Agency, TEA. The purpose of today's training is to identify and access the Program Monitoring Validations PMV WorkApp within Smartsheet, to navigate through the PMV WorkApp interface, to understand user roles and permissions in the PMV WorkApp, and how to access or request PMV WorkApp assistance if needed. We're going to begin this training by working in the PMV WorkApp platform. First, you will want to log in to the Department of Grant Compliance and Administration WorkApp platform using the link provided on the screen and the credentials emailed to you when you were granted access by selecting Sign In with Microsoft. I have used the link in the previous screen and have clicked Sign In with Microsoft. Once you log in, you will see the homepage of the Smartsheet TA WorkApp platform that may look like this. Make sure that you have selected the WorkApp baseball diamond icon and that the filter is set to shared with you to be able to see WorkApp tiles for programs applicable to your school system or ESSA, and note that you will only have access to WorkApp tiles that have been shared with you by TEA FPC staff. If you find that you need access to a WorkApp tile after following these steps, please submit a help desk ticket to process a request for access. I will review how to do so at the end of this training. Today, we will use the PMV WorkApp tile to showcase the instructions for viewing and submitting program monitoring validations documentation. After clicking on the PMV WorkApp tile, for which you must submit documentation or view information, you will notice that under View As, School System View is visible. To the left of the screen, and under that, different links to view or enter data. Common views available are School System View, ESD View, and Fiscal Agent View. Available views will depend on the access that was granted when your login credentials were emailed to you. For the program monitoring validations, school systems will see the following links: the notification of selection letter that will specify the program requirements selected for validation, the year-specific program monitoring validations link, where documentation is to be submitted for the school system, and a PMV results notification letter that will give the school system details on the results of the requirements that were selected for validation once TEA has reviewed the documentation that was submitted during the review period. To view the details of the notification of selection letter, you will click on the ribbon link to the right of the screen. The Details, Data, and Attachments tab will appear, and you will notice that the notification letter is attached. You will click on the letter to view details. You will notice that the letter is available in your Downloads folder. Click on the Open File to view the letter. It contains school system information as well as details regarding the program monitoring validations process and resources available that is addressed to the superintendent of the school system. The second page of the letter will specify the program requirements for which the school system was selected to participate from the ESSA programs listed. The program monitoring's validation link will contain ribbon lines for documentation submission for any of the selected program requirements for your school system. On the screen, you will see that the school system was selected for Program Monitoring Validations for Title I Part A, Title II Part A, and Title I Part C. I will click on the PMV requirement selected for the Title I Part A. That will open up a Details Data and Attachments tab. The Data tab contains details on the specific program requirement selected for validation. You will notice that some fields are pre-populated and grayed out. These fields cannot be edited or changed. You will also notice some fields contain a red asterisk. These fields are required and must be completed. The requested documentation page numbers may vary by program. Some will have multiple fields, as you see here. Once you begin entering information in the open fields, you will notice that a Save button appears at the bottom. As well as the option to discard changes. The Save button will turn blue once all of the required fields contain data. And please note that the WorkApp will not automatically save your work if the blue Save button is not clicked. So I'm going to fill in the school system contact name, email address, and the rest of the required fields with information so that you can see the blue Save button will populate. You will notice that the blue Save button is now available at the bottom corner of your screen. I've gone in and entered all of the required information into the fields with red asterisks, including the school system program contact information. Remember that the program contact information person that is entered in the field is the person that is most familiar with the program and documentation that is being submitted to TA. The school system also has the option of providing comments to assist TA in the review process. Comments are optional and not required. Next, the school system must select Yes from the drop-down menu for the certification statement agreement. And the school system must also select a submission status. The system is defaulted to submission pending. So if you click on the drop-down menu, two other submission statuses will appear, one that reads in process and submission complete. If you find that the information that you entered is incorrect or lacks data as you work, you can clear the contents at the bottom or everything that's been entered by clicking discard changes, or click in a required field and make the necessary changes before saving to go back and edit all the information. If you're working on a submitting documentation but do not finish, are lacking some information, or you would like to return at a later time to finish submitting the documentation, you can select the status of in process. Please be cautious in making your selection, because once the status of submission complete is selected and that blue Save button is clicked, in most instances, the data you entered may become read-only and no changes can be made. If there is a change that needs to be made, a help desk ticket needs to be submitted to reopen the submission status. Again, you'll notice that all of the required fields contain the information that is required. The Save button is now blue. I have verified my selection of the status, and I can hit Save. The school system must have a submission complete status selected for TA to consider the submission finalized. There is one other step in completing the PMV documentation submission, which is found in the Attachments tab, to the right of the Data tab, to insert or attach the requested documentation for the specific program requirement. I will click on the Attachments tab, and you will notice that there is a blue Attach a File button at the bottom. Click that button and go to your computer to select the documentation to submit. The documentation will appear in the file name window. Select Open, and you can verify that your attachment was attached correctly in the WorkApp because it will appear listed here, as you see on the screen. You must submit the requested documentation in PDF file format. All documentation should be attached as a single file unless otherwise specified. And please note that there is a size limit of 30 megabytes per file. I would like to take this time to remind you to take great care when uploading attachments, because once an attachment is submitted, you will not be able to delete it. Deleting an attachment as well as resetting a submission status can only be done by submitting a help form to TA FBC staff. I'll review how to submit a help form later. Once you're done submitting documentation, you can click on the X located at the top right corner of the Details form. If your school system has been selected for other program requirements, then please repeat the process I just reviewed to submit documentation for each program. You will see the status of your submitted documentation by scrolling across and locating the Submission Status column. As you see here, the first line for which information was entered has the submission status of submission status or submission complete, data entered, and documentation attached. The other two ribbon lines are still defaulted to submission pending, not started, so those still require information to be entered. Finally, after TA concludes their review of the documentation submitted by your school system for any selected program requirements, your school system will see the ESSA PMV results notification letter under the school system view. If you click on the link, click on the ribbon line, and click on the letter attached, that will once again open up your Downloads folder. And to view the results letter, simply click Open File. The contents will contain information about the PMV process and also give the school system the results of each program requirement selected for program monitoring validation, including the compliance statuses and the next steps, if applicable. If your school system needs to submit a WorkApp help form, you'll see the link for that under the school system view down here at the bottom, FBC General Help Form. When you click on that link, the window will open to display the help form. Select your organization and make sure that you complete the fields with the red asterisks as they are required. If you are needing specific assistance with the PMV WorkApp help form, under TA LEA WorkApp project, select the LEA Program Monitoring Validations WorkApp and select an issue category. The most common issue categories for the help tickets received regarding any of our WorkApps are the attachment removal request, questions with entering and submitting data, or access to any WorkApp projects for the tiles that we have available. So you can make any of those selections, provide any comments that will assist us in reviewing and resolving your request. You have the option to upload any screenshots of the issues that you are experiencing. To receive a copy of your help form, click the Send me a copy of my responses box, and under email address, please type in a valid or professional work email address and click Submit. Please allow TA time to review and resolve your help ticket once it has been submitted. If you do not receive a response within 5 business days, please email us at essasupport@tatexas.gov. And once you are ready to sign out of the WorkApp, you can do so by hovering your cursor over the sign out icon located at the bottom left-hand corner of the window underneath the help question mark icon and selecting sign out. Now I'd like to take a few minutes to review how to gain access to the WorkApp. Whether you are part of a school system or ESC, you must ensure that you have the appropriate access to navigate through the TA WorkApps. Please note that school systems or ESC staff submitting or viewing documentation for the FPC division will need to be added to the Department of Grant Compliance and Administration WorkApp managed by TEA. Currently, only those personnel listed on the screen have access, or it is also dependent on the selective administration staff for your school system or ESC. Note that each school system and ESC is only guaranteed a certain number of access accounts at this time. However, additional users may be granted access by submitting an access request form to TEA. Please take caution in making sure that the email that you provide to TEA when submitting a request for access is professional in nature. If submitting as an independent consultant and or a work issued email associated with a school system or an ESC, as no personal emails will be accepted. If you do require access, then you must ask individuals at your ESC or school system who currently have access to TA's WorkApp and have them enter the Edgar Connect WorkApp to complete the appropriate steps to submit a grant access approval request. TA will be alerted of the new request for access and will process the request within 3 to 5 business days. TA will then send the applicant an email with instructions to complete a new user certification form. Upon approval of access, users will be emailed their credentials. You must use them to create a Smartsheet account and take caution that you create the account using the credentials sent to you by TA to gain access to the WorkApp. You will not need to buy a license to access any of the TA WorkApp tiles, but you may do so if you wish to use the Smartsheet platform itself. If the individual you are wishing to add does not have access after 5 business days, please submit a help form using the Edgar Connect help form located within the Edgar Connect WorkApp. If you need to remove access for someone at your ESC or school system, you must also complete the appropriate steps to submit a request to remove access by completing the steps found on the Edgar Connect WorkApp. I'd like to also provide you with this slide that provides some FPC division resources that you may find helpful and includes additional information about the PMV process and help forms. For any FPC WorkApp related questions or issues, please submit an FPC general help form or feel free to contact either ESSA support or the program and project coordinator for assistance. If you need TA WorkApp assistance, please contact Frank Baca at TEA. If you require Smartsheet WorkApp assistance, then please submit a Smartsheet help desk ticket using the link shown on the screen. This concludes the PMV WorkApp training brought to you by the Federal Program Compliance Division at TEA. We hope this training will provide valuable insight into the purpose and functionality of the PMV WorkApp and support your ability to navigate its features effectively. Thank you for viewing.